Welcome to the show, Christina. Again, I am super excited I was excited before looking at your website, looking at all your stuff, and now having the conversation we've just had, getting better.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I've redeemed myself a little bit, I think is what it's.
Not at all. And one thing I told Christina before we came on
Yeah.
is that I had listened to her on another podcast, which is something I usually don't do. I usually like walking in and we just sit down like we're having a cup of coffee and we start a conversation. So I had these ideas already. And then we started talking and it's like, oh, we're not talking about any of that stuff. We're going for some other stuff altogether.
Yeah. Listen, and my answer, just in my own clarification, I wouldn't even call it self-defense. And my own clarification is different people, different conversations, right? That's one of the things that we learn as a human being, as a professional investor, as even in your workplace, right? Different conversations for different human beings
Absolutely.
bring out different success,
Absolutely.
right? So
Wow. Okay.
whatever it was, I'm sure you'll fill me in later.
All right. My first question for everybody is how did you learn about money? Tell us your money stories quickly or
I
spread
will.
out.
I have 3 little pieces, and I'll try to keep them short. First and foremost, my mom is the one who, at 12 years old, showed me what a stock was, and at 17 years old, gave me the family house because she needed somebody to take care of it, and that was my first investment, my first rental, was from my mom. So
Okay.
my mom. But my mom also spent time running around the house, slamming doors and screaming whenever the electric bill was too high. So that's another lesson around money, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
she taught us to be active in the conversation of money, but at the same time would taught us also that money can be anxiety producing. So it was first. The second was I was running a little company called Ground Level Center for Living Meditation. And yes, we taught meditation inside the center and yoga and sound baths and karate classes and sat songs. And we had 90 different teachers over 2 years and blah, blah, blah. And I was running this and I was running it on donation because that is what spiritual people do, right? We
Yeah.
run
Yep.
things on donation, right?
Yep.
And it taught me to cultivate 2 things. One, what does it mean to ask for a donation? Value for value. What does value for value mean? Gave me 2 years to contemplate when I'm talking to a teacher and I say, if you find value in the space, leave value in the space. Find value in the space, leave value in the space so the space stays open. Find value in the space, leave value in the space so the space stays open. And by the way, it costs us about $40 for every hour you use. So
Sure.
it,
Okay.
it taught me to keep expanding that conversation, right? And
Yeah.
without violating my intention behind why I had opened that center. It was as much about my meditation as it was about anybody else's meditation. It was as much about my learning around money as it was around their learning around money. So that was one real good experiment. The second was I learned that most people don't have a clear understanding of what I would say is value of money. What
Right.
is
Okay.
money about? What is money for?
Mhm.
How is money an expression of anxiety, fear, constriction, or joy, abundance, and clarity,
Mhm.
right? Feeding the system, if nothing else, feeding the system so you're fed from the system. So that to me was a prime time for me to really reflect on my relationship with money and other people's relationships with money. And in that time, I was trying to make my $2,300 a month rental on this little space. But I also remember that house my mom gave me, which
Yeah.
then became another house I bought for her, which became another kind. So I had these investments. I sold the one that my mom eventually moved into, which I bought for her. And I had gained, it tripled in value in California. And I had gained almost $1 million worth of actual equity being pulled out of that house. Now,
Okay.
do I have a problem with money? Wait a minute, hold on. Cognitive dissonance. I have 2,300 I can't quite meet over here, and I have $1 million I've just gained over here. Maybe I don't have an issue with money. Maybe it's not my issue with money, and maybe I'm in the wrong career. So that was a conversation about money, but also a conversation about applying myself to a career that had abundance and ease and prosperity in it for me. For me, where was my lane? Where was my level of expertise? So does that give you 3 different pieces?
It does. It does. And I want to ask you back. Your mom gave you the property. Did you think of yourself as an investor at that point, or what was your thinking?
When we were selling the house that had about $1 million worth of equity in it, I went, okay, so I was working because people ask me, Christine, what did you do before investing? I worked as a receptionist for 4 Persian Brothers when I was in college. I worked as a child care provider, as a receptionist, as an assistant teacher, and then a head teacher. I worked as a teacher in special education and got my teacher's credential. I worked in a marketing company, which I was politely fired from. And I worked in a call center for a half a day. And as I walked out, the guy was yelling at me, "You're never going to be successful if you're not willing to do cold calls." And I just kind of like, oh God, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I had jobs. I had a job as
Mm.
my portfolio grew from
Yeah.
1996 to about 2001. So
Yeah.
there was 2001 where I went, oh, I've now gained enough money. I better take on the identity of an investor. And that came within months of, I can't make my rent over here, but I'm getting this huge gain over here. Maybe I should be an investor. Well, what does that mean? Now I better get educated.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Now I've made this money that I did you even expect to make it? Or is it like now we're selling this house and oh, what do you mean? There's $1 million that I now have that I had to figure out how to pay taxes on. I had to figure out what to do with it. And we talk about people and that have money and people that have money have no problems.
No, that is a universal inaccuracy.
I agree. I agree. People with money have problems and some of the same problems as people without money, just bigger, on a bigger level and a lot of different problems. You just think about things a little bit differently. I forgot where I was going somewhere else with that one. I forgot where I was going.
It's okay. You'll get it.
Okay. So you sold the house that you bought for your mom. You had bought 3 houses, it sounds like, from the time your mom gave you the house, you bought 3 other ones. Plus, we're doing all your other things that you were doing in your life. So you were living these parallel things that you didn't even realize you were living parallel existences as an investor that you didn't call yourself yet, and as a teacher, and all these other things. Okay. I can those things came together
Yep,
in
and I got my
your
just to
er
answer the and I got the master's in psychology the same time I was running the spiritual center. I was getting my master's in psychology at the same time.
master's in psychology.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking offline about love and money and loss and how those things come together because we were talking a little bit about how some of the people that I'm working with are really afraid the way and these are my words, afraid to invest, and I believe it's because they're afraid to lose. It's like, "Oh, I can't invest $50,000. I can't invest $100,000. What if I lose it?"
Mhm.
So I've started doing some things that are smaller, and you started talking about that, which your psychology background came out beautifully, and
Thank you.
I just like I think bringing that out to the women that are listening is gonna be really important because you made a parallel with love. So
I
talk about that if you can remember what you said, 'cause I know you
I
can. Put it out there, so
I'll do my best. I'll do my best to repeat it because you know how it is. You say something, all of a sudden you go, "Oh, that actually was a
What'd I
good
say?
one. I said a good one. Hold on a second." So, but it is a recent stick of mine. So I go through these months or a year or 2 of, like, really looking at a subject matter. Like, I remember I described in the meditation center, I was really looking at money, my relationship with money, people's relationships with money. And so it was about renting out a spiritual center, but it's about understanding value of money, mine and other people's conversations around it. So right now, one of my current ones, and I have some other people in the field like Kathy Fetke and AJ Osborne and stuff relate to this in my conversations with them about in real estate, people are so sensitive to losing money.
Mhm.
Where we started in our conversation was, but if you own stocks, you lose $1,000 a week, $1,000 a month, right? And you don't think about it because, oh, it's going to come back, right? We've been trained.
Yeah.
In a way, we've been desensitized or been shown acceptance around that.
Yes.
Okay. So that's one. But the other piece is I relate losses of money as being similar to way somebody would be around love, right? So there's two
Mhm.
ways that they parallel in my mind. First and foremost, if you're going to love somebody, you're going to be vulnerable with somebody, you're going to really invest with them, you're going to marry them, you're going to spend time with them. If you're afraid of your capacity to handle loss, then you're afraid you will also withhold in loving. Because there's a
Mhm.
piece of you who will always be like, well, but what if they go away? I can't handle losing them. I can't handle being so committed and having them disappear. I have to rebuild my life. No, I need to withhold some piece of myself in order to truly vulnerably walk into loving somebody, because loving somebody is a vulnerable position. Well, I think it's the same in observing my clients. It's the same with the investing, right? So I'm a real estate investment advisor and a registered investment advisor, and I specifically work with people around money and purpose. It's one of
Okay.
my passions. It's one of the things I love talking about, as you can tell. When you are afraid of losing money, when you're afraid of what that would cost you, you're afraid of what that would mean. then you're going to withhold your actual abundance because you're withholding out of fear. You're withholding your capacity to invest. You're withholding who you are. You're withholding and making judgments out of fear about what you're going to invest in. You're actually withholding your capacity to be even a better investor, to invest more deeply, to be able to expand more, to be able to understand. One of my mentors says, let's not go cray cray here. So let's get really clear. It's not like I'm saying be unconscious, right? Which was our next piece that we talked about. I'm not saying be unconscious in investing. What I'm saying is that, again, like love, we're going to call it like love, right? So your capacity to invest is based on your capacity to lose. If you're capable of losing elegantly and understanding how you manage loss, then you're capable of investing more deeply and more successfully. But it's the same with as women, we talked about it. So I don't know. For the men who are listening, I apologize. What I understand better is women. I apologize. And men are beautiful. They will commit and they're in it, and that is their level, and they're moving forward. Well, we as women commit in pieces and parts. It's true, right?
Yeah.
Right? We like, oh, well, like I was saying earlier, like, okay, he knows how to fight. Okay, that's good. Right? When he gets angry, he doesn't like get angry. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, everybody run for the hills. He gets angry. He knows how to manage his anger. Right? Okay, that's cool. Hey, wait a minute. Like, he wants to go the same place I want to go. Cool. And the deal breakers, right? We got to make sure we got the deal breakers. Does he want to get married? Does he want to have kids? Who does he want to be? How does he want to be? What job does he want to have? Right? Where are we going to live? Right? And so we as women, we do our due diligence. Guess what? We're doing due diligence. We're doing due diligence on what it means to commit and select a partner. And we
Yes.
have a list, whether it's conscious or unconscious, inside of ourselves that allows us to step forward into the process of committing to a relationship
Mhm.
more and more deeply. And so to not go cray cray, it is a process of due diligence to commit. Where are you going to invest your money? Knowing that you want to manage the loss, but knowing that you're going to be vulnerable and you're going to commit in. Like you're going to commit. And again, I'm going to add another layer to this, if I may, and then I'll be quiet.
Please keep
Another
going.
level of it is, well, it's like when you get into a relationship and that relationship breaks up. What do you do
Mhm.
to yourself? How do you treat yourself? Right? Do you beat yourself? Oh man, he was a jerk or she was a jerk and I should have seen it from the beginning and I'm just such an idiot and whoa, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Like that's like a lot of anger at self in there, right? When you beat yourself up. Or do you go, you know what? Wow, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Let me take my lessons from what I've done. Let me do my crying. Let me do my processing. Let me do the hurt. Let me examine where I tripped up authentically in a gentle fashion with myself.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, now I'm managing loss well, in a gentle fashion with myself so that I can then go, oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot to ask that deal breaker question.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that. Or I saw it and I ignored it.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then the next time we go out on a date, right? What do? We ask more of the deal breaker questions from the beginning. We withhold our excitement and our love as women. Like, oh man, I don't know about how you are, but I'm like, dude, you are bright, you're engaging. Like my body's going, woohoo, hi, 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 hi. Like I'm like, going, right? But then I'm like, okay, hold that in, hold that in. You can be excited, but hold that in, Christina. Now have a conversation. Who are you? Because if I don't know who you are, it doesn't matter how attracted I am or how excited I am or how shiny you are.
Yes. Yeah. It's like my body gets it, I'm in. My body's in. Okay, wait. Back up, body. I gotta get my head in this game so we can connect each other, so we can really know this that all this because there's a lot of chemistry, and there's a lot of chemistry with shiny object and investing also. Same thing. You've gotta look at it, and people one of my secret indulgences right now
Okay.
is watching American Greed.
Okay.
It is like, there's so many real estate scams and so many scams and so many ways people get taken, and these people that are selling are very shiny. They are beautiful. You watch it and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I've heard that," and, "Oh, ooh," and it can really back you off and go, "No, no, 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 no. I'm never doing this because look at all the different." This show went on for a long time, and there's a lot of real estate scams on there. It's you have to be careful, yes, just like in who you're going to marry or who you're going to commit your it's like, I don't call it your soul, but you give a lot when
You
you're
give a lot.
that whole
Yeah.
vulnerability to someone else. It's a
Yeah.
lot. And most of us I don't just dive into that. It is very much superficial first. You're good looking. Yes, I'm attracted to you. Yes. Okay. Now let's get to the tough stuff.
And it is, and I just to take it even further, okay, maybe this is too obnoxious, and you can tell me if it's too obnoxious,
No.
but it's like every cute guy walking down the street, like, you could go, "Huh," like, and get in their face, right? Or you could be like, "Oh, no, wait a minute, I'm gonna wait, and we get a little deeper," right? And it's like, well, every investment that comes by, you don't have to go, "Hey, I'm gonna invest in you." Like,
Yes.
"No, no, no, we don't do that with every cute guy. Let's not do that with every cute investment."
Absolutely. And that's where that is whole starting with what are you doing? You talked about investing and your purpose, aligning with your purpose. Why are you doing it? That's why you back up before you even start going. What do I want? Where am I working to go in a relationship or in your investing? So that I know people, whenever somebody starts, I want to invest. I'm like, well, but why? You're like, "'Cause I wanna make money." It's like, "No, no, 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 no." Yeah, we all wanna make money, but that's not the answer. There's a lot there's a lot to that, and so many people wanna skip that whole part. I'm gonna admit, I skipped that whole part. When I first started investing in 2004, I skipped that whole I was like, "We're just gonna do it. We're gonna make money. We're gonna do great." And then 2008 happened, and we lost everything. My husband ex-husband now was like, "Okay, I'm never doing that again." I took that other route of, "Okay, how did I mess that up? What happened?" And it wasn't like jumping right back in. No, there was a lot of soul searching, and you figure it out. You
Yeah,
move on. You get going.
you do, and oh, there's something you said that I wanted to comment on, but it's accurate. Like, you're gonna gain and lose in real estate, and that is the truth and the reality of it. And whether it's somebody who's consciously and intentionally committing fraud, or
Mhm.
somebody who started with a good intention,
Yeah.
then committed fraud because they got overwhelmed, got cornered, and thought they could get out. Like, they could, "Oh, if I just do this one thing, that'll get me out of this and I can make my investors whole."
Yep.
Right? And there's just as
Yep.
many of those, I think, if not more of those, than people who are actually doing fraud from the beginning.
I
Go ahead.
agree. I 100% agree with you. I'm watching the American Greed. I'm like, "Bet they didn't start out planning to defraud people." It is, "I am in a corner. I'm gonna do this little thing one time," and then, you know, how the news makes you look terrible from the beginning. Just
They
that's
d they do, don't they? It's from the beginning. No, probably not. Which almost makes it harder on us as investors. So let's just, if I can bring that down for a minute, because we just talked about that this last weekend, as a matter of fact. I was watching Tom Burns at a retreat I was at, and
uh-huh.
he was talking about the 8 ways to see the wolf, right? And I had given my presentation previous to him, and mine was more focused on the due diligence process, right?
Okay.
And that it's stages, right? Wasn't nearly as eloquent, I think, in that presentation as I was here. So forgive me for that. But because I was more focusing on, like, there's the other Christina. Remember the other Christina you saw on the other video? Is that Christina?
Yes.
Okay, here's the 8 stages. Here's what you need to do, honey. Like, let me give it to you step by step. And less about purpose and spirituality and psychology and all of that. So he was talking about, like, the wolf, and it's like, well, it makes it harder because you don't see that they are a wolf because they're not starting with that intention. Okay,
Yep.
that might scare people to not invest because, like, oh man, now you're telling me I have to watch for the wolf and I have to watch for the person who's gonna potentially get cornered and then let their character slip. Now, how am I supposed to protect myself in that world? And I think part of that protection is the accountability of self, right?
Mhm.
The process of just like, okay, I'm gonna get to know this team. I'm gonna get to know, one of the questions I ask is, well, tell me about a deal that went wrong and how you solved it.
Mhm.
And listen in their stories with their accountability of where they went wrong, right? I
Yeah.
did this. The
Yeah.
world did this, but I did this, right?
Yeah.
Listen for, where did they land in their thinking? I want to make my investors whole. Could I do that at almost any way I could make my investors whole? I did, or I tried to. Right? Or was it, "Oh my god, I just tried to save the project. All I could do was focus on the project." And I said, "Well, what about your investors? What happened there?"
Yeah.
Right? Who were you in relationship to the people you committed to? What I'm asking them isn't so much about money, I'm asking them about their commitment.
Mhm.
And then the third piece is in reviewing all the losses I have, because I'm investing for 35 years, so I have a couple losses around here.
Losses, that's right.
Saying, please, I have seen 3 downturns now. This is like, I've lost money in most of them, not all of them, but most. I didn't in the Reagan era, I had my portfolio go down, but then I didn't sell anything, so I didn't realize a loss. But in the 2007, 8, and 9,
That was painful. It was
yes,
very painful
it
for
was
me.
very painful. As a friend of mine said, "Finally enough zeros, huh?" Oh my god, enough zeros. Oh my god. How'd I pick myself up after that one?
And
Right?
and we did.
And we did, and
We
we
did.
did, and we did. So the final thing is when reviewing all my losses, what I noticed is the most likely, so I've added to my due diligence, is the most likely for a deal to go bad is if the principals have no net worth of their own.
Mm,
If they have no capacity of their own. I ran into this one guy who runs a fund and has run it has a series of funds over several of years. He's probably a little older than I am. And I said, "What do you tell me about something that didn't work and what you did?" Because it's one of my favorite questions, because then I know what your character is. I know who you are and I know how you think. Right.
yeah.
So, and he said, "Oh, well, we've never had a loss." I'm like, "What? Excuse me? You've been investing in real estate for how long and you've never had a loss?" Okay, dude, you're either lying to me, right? Right? Or you haven't really been investing very aggressively, but how have you never had a loss? And now
Or
here's,
you're delusional.
are you
So
delusional? Are you delusional? Are you just straight up delusional? Straight up delusional. But what I did find out later from one of his assistants was, oh, no, 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 we've had losses, but he's made every investor whole,
okay. Okay.
period.
Yeah.
So no investor has
Yeah.
ever had a loss in any of our funds. And I went, now that's
I
something.
yes.
If he had answered me a little differently, he could have hinted at that without committing to it, because you don't want to commit to it, right? You don't want to commit that you're always going to make everybody whole. Marshall Reddick is a really good example, right? You don't want to commit that you're going to make everybody whole all the time, because maybe you can't,
Yeah.
right? But if
Yeah.
that's what you're doing, then you can hint to it. I've had private investors, and I will say this on radio. I've had private investors. I've had losses with private investors. I've made every private investor whole up to date.
Yep.
I can't promise I'll always be able to do that, but I will tell you this, back to due diligence. The deals I'm doing now after 35 years of investing and losing money and going through 2007, 8, and 9, all the losses that people like you and I have faced, I now make sure my deals are sized in such a way that if I had to bail it out, I
I
potentially
could
could.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not buying that $50 million apartment building because I can't bail that out,
Yeah.
right? I'm keeping my investments, even with my joint ventures with people, inside of a scale that I feel like can have better mastery over.
Mhm.
Can't
That's
promise.
yes. Yeah. I really like that a lot. Is that and I didn't think about that that's what I was doing because we shared what my last deal was. It's like, if this one goes all kinds of down ways, not just sideways, but down ways, I can make this okay.
Yeah.
And not and feel okay about myself, not feel like I've lost a bunch. There's other deals that I've had to do that I've done that it was real painful, but like this other guy, make investors whole. It's like these people trust in me as best I can. That is what we will do as best I can.
Can
So
I rip on purpose for a minute?
go for it.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
please. Absolutely.
Because I'm a great believer that getting rich isn't anybody's purpose.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I don't think that's actually ever a purpose. And when purpose, I mean something that is satisfying to you, fulfilling over a long period of time, and
In
something
and
you're
of
proud
itself.
of at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Zeros in your bank account isn't something that does things for most people.
yeah, it doesn't heal you. It doesn't make your psychology go away. Masters in psychology. It doesn't, and you, right? You know this as well with your depth of experience and the amount of people and clients you've worked with.
Yeah.
Right? We know through observation, if not through personal experience, that the zeros never made us happy. It
Mm-mm.
was the process of what we did to achieve that felt on purpose and within our character that makes us satisfied with who we are as human beings and lets us know that we're on course fulfilling our purpose. And maybe
Mm.
some people actually know their sense of purpose, like they state it as a purpose statement. For me, it's transformation, abundance, and freedom for myself and others. How do I help others and myself continue to transform on the planet? How do I understand the truth of freedom and help others with that? And how do I live in abundance, having nothing to do with zeros,
Yeah.
and help others understand that abundance has nothing to do with zeros?
Yeah.
It has to do with who you are and whether you like yourself and what you're doing and do you feel on purpose. higher purpose, Mother Nature purpose, Buddha purpose, Moses purpose. I don't care. Pick your
Purpose.
purpose.
Exactly.
Pick your
Pick where
purpose.
it comes from. We
Doesn't
all
matter.
have one. We have it inside. This is what I'm here for. Our money with mission purpose is every woman has the financial ability to walk away from any job or relationship that's not in her best interest.
Yeah.
There's a lot to that, and walking away from something is so much bigger than just the money.
Preach it, girl. Preach it. Preach it. Talk to it. Come on. Like, talk to it.
It's just the place I land. I want you to have the financial ability. I was like, if you got the financial ability, my thoughts are the rest of that's gonna come as you're what you just said, as you're getting your financial ability to do what you need to do, you get so much confidence, so much just your strength, your ability, your everything, your purpose comes out when you know that this is it's not money for money's sake. Bottom line, that's where we're going with this. Money for money's sake gets you nowhere. What are you gonna do with it? Was it how is getting there changing you? How is getting there affecting those around you? Because that's the huge thing. We have children. Both of us are very proud to be mothers.
Yes.
So many of us out here out working, doing surgeries, seeing patients are mothers. And somebody asks you what you do, and you're like, what do you mean? What do I do? I have so many things that I do. And that mom thing is so big, but we hardly ever say it because people don't get it. They're just like more of a, I'm a doctor. I'm a real estate investor. But that mom thing is the thing that's in your I don't know. I don't know if all the other moms out there feel this way, but this is like getting my chest right now. That
Mm.
mom thing is the thing. And having my children, my daughters know that money is needed. Nobody's going to say we don't need money in this is the United States of America. You need money.
I know that's
That
technical
money
quick
is
right here.
it's not, money's
Technical.
not what you live for. It
Yeah.
is not what you live for. Anyway, it's holiday time, so much money is out there and doing all this stuff. And I was just thinking about that. But go ahead. Let me let you
Oh, no, it's all good.
interject.
We can share space. I have a tendency to not share space on my own show because I think it's about the people I'm interviewing. So you have my permission to share space. We're both profound women who spend our time thinking about what it means to live on this planet and to build a better universe.
Yeah, oh my gosh. A lot of time and a lot of sadness around it sometimes too. It's like we can do so much better. And then we meet people like I met Christina, believe it or not, I just met her today.
Yes, you did.
And some of the people I meet so many people on my podcast that just say, "Okay, it's not the way the news says it is. It's not the world's falling apart, nobody cares." There's so many people that care and so many people working in their own realm that those ripples are eventually it's happening, you guys. It's happening. It is not as bad out there as everything points it to be. The ripples are happening, and this is amazing things are happening. That's all I'm gonna say.
We can talk about media for a minute because I actually have a point of view on that. It sounds like you might as well. It's Hearst who started with the concept that blood cells, right? That headlines that have drama in them is how you sell a newspaper.
Yes, 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 yes,
Right?
yes.
So
Yeah,
the Hearst Castle's here in California, and so you
yeah,
can go see this newspaper magnate that had created I don't know how many newspapers he had after he bought the several that he owned, but he learned that drama sells, right? That's what makes people stop and pay
yep,
attention and buy a headline,
yep,
right? But then it means who are we? Who are we in our being readers about it? And if I do my investing based on the drama of the papers, I'm gonna run into problems. Like I've noticed, right? If you believe the hype of 2004, 2005, 2003, 4, and 5, and even into 6, and you believe all the hype, real estate's never gonna go down. Oh my God, you totally can do this. This is so easy. You always make money. 7% return year on year in California if you just look at the charts. I'm like, well, if you actually look at the charts, you'll see it's more than 7% for 5 to 7 years, and then a scary amount less instead of negative in like 2 or 3 of those years. And then all of a sudden you're up like, yeah, annualize at 7%, but that doesn't say anything about the reality of living in a downturn, right? The reality of living in a downturn, right? That's where we started. But the point is that newspapers don't give us accurate information. And some of our friends don't even give us accurate information, right? So where do you get accurate information? I have a tendency to try to go back to the data. I'm a bit of a chart geek.
yeah.
Like, but then it's because I've invested, when I see that chart, that roller coaster of a chart of investing in California real estate or Los Angeles, which it is a roller coaster. I'm sure I'm sure Magic Mountain could make a ride out of that roller coaster and it would sell, right? But what does it mean to live that roller coaster? So what I care about is the data, the history of data. Oh my God, notice of defaults have doubled from a 0.5% to a percent, and then in national average is 3% or 2.5. Hold on a second, that's not meaningful anymore.
Right. It is correlate. What is the news gives us things in a box, and you have to open the box to see how that context plays out in the rest of the world. And it's investing and it's living in this world. The drama of the news is what's guiding a lot of people. And we talked about that with real estate, but the stock market's the same way. It's like average return of 12% or whatever they say the percent is over however many years. And then but you're getting ready to retire in your 401k. You need your money now, and it's not up. It's down. It is a roller coaster. There's averages, but that's not how we live. We live on a day-to-day basis, year-to-year basis. Oh, this is so much fun. How can people get in touch with you?
My phone number and my website. So my phone number first, I'm very person to person. So 310-463-5942. That is my cell phone. Text
Okay.
me. We will have a phone call. I love being able, right? Transformation, abundance, and freedom. I love having phone calls with people about that topic. And oh, by the way, if I can help you through my consulting practice, I will let you know. If we want to do a joint venture together, I will let you know if that lines up or not. What am I investing in? What are you investing in? But just
Uh-huh.
having an hour-long phone call can sometimes just be clarifying. Who do
You
you want to
guys,
be? And how do
so
you want to implement that through your real estate career?
I'm gonna say this because people are not used to somebody giving them their phone number. And so I'm sure so many people are out there because I would be this way. It's like, she doesn't mean I can call her, does she? You guys listen to this podcast. I think you really can call her. If she can't talk, she's not going to answer right
I'm
then.
not going to answer the phone. That's
She's
why I say
not
send
going
me
to
a text.
send a text. And
We'll set up an appointment.
we got to stop our worries about interfering in somebody else's life. I'm going to put it out there like that because strong people, if you're interfering, we're not going to pick up the phone right then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you something, say, "Hey, let me get back with you." So, if you wanna talk to Christina, send her a text. Let's call people, talk on the phone these days.
On the phone, human to human. And just in case before you call me, you want to make sure I'm not going to bite you or like be really mean or something, right? It's ChristinaSuter.com, Suter, one T, ChristinaSuter.com. You can check me out there, right? I run 2 meetings a month. You can check me out there in Pasadena and Glendale, right? I have a podcast. You can check me out there. Hopefully you'll get one that has some depth to it and not what everyone Felicia watched, which obviously didn't have any depth to it. Right? So, it's funny because as I look at my social, like, I just spent this last 6 months really doing, like, a social media, like, testing, and believe it or not, the reels that I put out, the most views I get are economic and real estate, and they're not my personal growth reels.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure people would wanna hear me on personal growth, don't they? It's my passion. Isn't that what they wanna hear? Not right
It
now.
it's what people need, which is when we come to coaching, he's like my coach says,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you don't give people what they want. That's how you get them in, but you when they get there, you give them what they actually need." And the growth, the development, the becoming a leader, that's one thing you were talking about before, about being a leader in your own life, and so many of us don't even think about that, and our mindset around money, we don't think about that. "I'm ready to invest." Okay, but why?
Why?
And where are you going with that?
Yeah.
Those are key things, but nobody wants that. They wanna know, "What should I invest in? How long will it take to get my money back? How much money am I gonna get back?" You're like, "Okay, but you're
Good
missing."
questions, and right? It's
Yeah,
the example I always use is if, okay, I can give you an investment that's going to be a 25% return. One of those investments is called being a flipper. So do you want to give up your medical job, your day job as a doctor so that you can run a flip? Is that really what you want? Or are you really looking for something, an investment that parallels your life, that starts to allow you to build financial freedom in a way where you're actually following what feels on course for you and
yeah,
not in a way that is disjointed or too high risk. Like,
right,
I love yours. So money with mission,
mhm,
right? Your website, and it's 5 simple steps. Assess your financial goals. Oh, by the way, we're also going to talk about your personal goals. You don't tell people that, but it's in there. We know it's in there. Assess your financial and personal goals.
Yep,
Evaluate your investable assets, which means we're not going to let you strip yourself.
yep,
Evaluate what's actually investable versus net worth. I understand the difference between the two. Not
yep,
everybody will, but you clearly do.
yep.
Identify investment opportunities that would be aligned with the previous two, right? Your goals and your investable assets. Then we vet the deal and sponsor. Oh, by the way, then we actually start doing our due diligence. Then we support you in getting you capital placed. It's just so important, right? Like the
Yes,
groundwork.
yes, yes. I wanna watch your personal development, just so you know, so don't stop doing those.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe when I'm done putting out the series of reels on like, what's the changes that we think are going to be happening given the current president elect is Trump? This is not a political conversation. This is
Oh,
a financial conversation. We are professional investors and we need to invest in the environment that is in front of
that we're
us.
in, exactly.
Just that, babe.
Yeah,
Just that. Don't
that
need to be upset about it.
that's where I say too, it's like, just tell me the rules so I can play by the rules that we have. Tell me what box I'm in so I can know what I can do,
What
and
I can do right.
we'll figure it out. It does all that other the drama is the drama, and
Yeah, it's just drama.
some days you wanna play the drama, some days it's like, "Okay, I
Sometimes we
can't."
do. Sometimes we do want to play the drama, don't we? We really, really do. Biting my tongue, going, "No, anything. I'm not going to. You know, as an investor, I'm going to stay focused on what's important, my capacity to invest,
Yeah.
not not my personal opinion.
It's not the drama. We're not going there.
Not do that drama. We don't need it."
Oh, Christina, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate it. Guys, call her, check out the website, check out the podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
Real estate breakthrough. It's on lots and lots of platforms,
Anywhere.
including YouTube and Roku TV and Amazon TV and stuff like that.
Wow, look at you.
iHeartRadio. Yeah, so I didn't do that. My mentor did that. My mentor is the one who wised me up.
That's how I got on my class. Like, I don't know how I did that.
But yeah, and my meetings are Phoebe, Pasadena, and ITI Glendale. Those are my 2 meetings that I run every month.
Oh, so I was gonna say, I live in Oklahoma right now, and my children live in Los Angeles, and I've been trying to figure out I feel like I'm supposed to be in California. My best
Okay.
friend's in California. So, this is gonna happen.
Where
I
are
don't
you
know.
in relationship to Tulsa?
I am 3 hours south of Tulsa. I lived in Tulsa for 2 years, and
Okay.
now I live in Lawton,
Okay.
and it's like I'm working my way out of Oklahoma. I lived in California, Northern California, Stockton, Manteca, in that area for 10, 11 years,
Okay.
and then here moved to Tulsa for a real estate deal that I was working on. It came and went, and then started practicing with a friend of mine who said, "Can you help me?" And I was like, "Sure, I can help you," down here in Lawton, and I was supposed to be for 4 months, and now it's been a year and a half. So, all right, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. All
Thank
right.
you.